All right, guys, welcome back. This is the Red Door Property Management Podcast, where we are going to dive into March 2025 market reports. And this is going to be sales data as well as the rental data. So, this is information that you're going to want to use when you are looking at investing into the local market. Or maybe you already have a property here in the Indianapolis or surrounding suburbs and you want to know what's going on because you have a vacancy coming up. Or maybe you just like to stay in tune with the local real estate market because I mean, let's all recognize that the entire investment field here in the States is a little bit tumultuous right now. So this is no better time for you to stay engaged. I'm joined here with Mike Taylor, broker owner of Red Door Property Management. Mike, how are you?
Excellent, Chris. How you doing?
Good. I'm doing good. My name is Chris Knight, business development manager here with Red Door, but you already know that. So we're going to dive in. If you didn't already, be sure to check out the earlier segments where we got into this week's property management question of the week, where we're talking about some triggering owners and the questions that they had. And we dive into those a little bit to provide you a little bit more insight if you're looking for a local property management company. So that's information you're for sure going to want to look at. So take a look at those so that you're asking the right questions when you're about to put your largest asset in the hands of a property management company here in the Indianapolis area. And then earlier on, we talked about some local ordinances that are going on here in the local area. That's obviously some information you're going to want to stay in tune to as the state legislators try to step in to try and block some stuff that's going on. So check that out. And without further ado, we're going to dive into the local markets. Mike, I'm going to let you take over, starting us off with the market insights for the Indianapolis March 2025 market report.
Yep. All right. So just a reminder, the first one we're looking at is going to be rental data. Then we'll look at sales data after that. So this is for rental data. Excuse me. The number of active homes, 1,056. Basically, that's unchanged from last month. We don't have year-over-year data because we are pulling new numbers. So relatively unchanged there, which is great news going into busier time of year. Average rental price, loving what I'm seeing here. 1702 is the average rental price in Indy. That is up. Call it 5% month over month and almost 6.5% year over year. So I'm loving that trend, both month over month and year over year. Average days on the market, 47. I mean, I got to be honest, that's respectable-ish for March. I want to see that go down, get to 30 or maybe even below 30 as we get into the leasing season. But to know that that's down 4% over February's days on the market is super encouraging. So heading in the right direction. So really, really good information, good data here for Indianapolis for the month of March. Average price per square foot. Again, this is something that's typically more apartment related, but we wanted to kind of show that here. So this top graph is specifically for single family homes. We break it down for single family homes, townhouses, and apartments. So on the single family homes, your average price per square foot is $1.21, which again is up 4% month over month. The graphics in the middle, sometimes it makes more sense to go over these than others in other areas, but in Indianapolis, it definitely makes sense. So I think in months past, I think Chris, maybe we flip-flopped to these this month because the top number I thought was townhouses and then the other one was apartments, but this month it's opposite. So just know that, guys, that top number is apartments available. So there's 770 apartments. Am I right?
No,
we didn't last month on the townhouses?
I got to call you out right here. No, I've got last month's right here that I'm going to refer to, and I'm afraid that's our layout.
All right. I guess I'm just confused on the graphic.
I get it.
All right. So there's 770 apartments available. Price point significantly less, of course, than your single family home, just 1,057. But the price per square foot obviously higher because they're typically a little bit smaller. So $1.49 price per square foot for apartments. Townhomes, decent amount of those, 105 townhomes, actually more expensive than your single family homes at $1,800. Days on the market on that is 56, and price per square foot a little bit less than the single family homes at $1.18. So that's really interesting that the townhome market is obviously more of a luxury play than the single family homes.
It is this month.
Yeah, it is. It definitely is. But if you look at those three graphs at the bottom, it's really good news across the board. Year over year, month over month, everything is pretty much ticking up. So, I mean, for the rental market, really all good news for Indianapolis for March.
Yeah, and if you're talking about local ordinances, the ordinance that we were referring to earlier in the podcast, you're not going to see that instituted here in the metro area. So, if you're looking for an investment property in Indianapolis, these numbers indicate good things happening. So, Indianapolis is still obviously a safe market to pick up properties anytime you're ready to pull the trigger. These numbers are great. Yeah, days on market continue to tick down. You are without a doubt we're finally, I think, seeing some stabilization on the days on market where I felt like it
Yep.
was wonky for the longest period of time following COVID, and as the real estate market figured out, began to stabilize as far as overall home prices, which was obviously factoring price into your average rental prices to cover those costs. But I do find that interesting that the condos are priced higher than your single family homes, which you've already alluded to. But that is different data than we had last month, where it was just slightly condos were just slightly lower than your single family home. So
Hmm.
that's your data for Indianapolis.
Okay, let's jump over to the sales data, see how that kind of compares. So this is sales data again. All of these are done with an investor mindset and investor point of view. So all these stats are homes that are closed last month, but are capped at $500,000 because we feel like most investors are not going to look over $500,000 for an investment. So just know that all these numbers are with that cap in mind. So average days on the market actually a little higher than what I was expecting, especially after looking at that MyBoard graphic that we looked at on the last segment. But 57 days on the market, which is higher than I thought, but it's actually down month over month, but year over year, that is up. Average price per square foot is $161 per square foot, up both month over month and year over year. So that kind of goes with my thesis that we're going to see prices, continue to increase. Average sales price 246, 556, which I know I say this every time, but it is just so mind blowingly affordable. Month over month up and year over year up just ever so slightly. And then look at this increase in the month over month on number of homes sold. So, I mean, certainly some of that seasonality, I don't know, but that is a huge jump, 30% from February to March. Now, February is like terrible time to buy a house and close on a house, and probably the lowest number that you're going to see. But that's a huge increase from February to March. But what's interesting is it's pretty significantly down year over year, which is what we have been reading in a lot of articles here, both locally and nationally. And I think we're going to see some mixed results on that as we go through these, but down, pretty significantly at 11% year over year. So that's interesting. Bottom left graph there, average sales price over time, kind of just shows me that we're up year over year. We're kind of slowly trending up each and every month, slowly but surely. And that's what I continue to expect, or expect to continue, I should say. And then the bottom right, number of homes sold, just to kind of show you how the homes are distributed in that $0 to $500,000 kind of price point. I mean, there's a ton of homes available in that under $200,000 price point in Indy. I mean, geez, almost 4,000 if I can read that right, 3,700. Then if you bump it up to 250, I mean, geez, you've got like 6,000 homes to choose from there. So, just because the average is 246 doesn't mean that there's not homes available for less than that. So it just kind of shows you the price distribution there and the fact that Indy is crazy affordable and there's 4,000 homes available under $200,000.
Yeah, this is obviously a very affordable market to be a part of, and things are trending in the right direction without a doubt. Let's talk about the elephant in the room, where I do think that numbers are going to begin to shift a little bit with the uncertainty in the market. And I mean, new builders are already reporting you don't have to do much searching to find news articles that are talking about the slowing down that's happening in the sales market. I'm talking to people every day where their property has been on the market for 200 days. These numbers are indicating. I suspect that we'll see much different data come out in the April market report, but we'll see. We'll see. I mean, everyone who's been watching this knows that I've been talking about things that will begin to shift, and we'll see a little bit more of a buyer's market. I don't think, again, I want to be very clear. I don't think you're going to see any substantial change. You're just going to see a shift where sales prices are going to have to start to trend downward ever so slightly. They're not going to tank. That's not what's happened, but they're going to start to shift the other direction, I believe. Well, we'll see. And again, you don't have to search very hard for the incentives that are being offered by new builders in order to offload new construction properties that are already erected. So that's the elephant in the room. And Mike is happy to report these numbers because he believes that things are going to continue to trend upward. So we'll see. As of right now, he's winning. He's on the leaderboard because these numbers are pretty crazy. Yeah, up 30% for number of homes sold in the month of March. I mean, seasonality obviously plays into that, but 30% is pretty incredible. And last month we saw 686, and this month we're at 897. Average days on market's down 12%. That's pretty crazy stuff. And let me just tease this out a little bit. I think we're going to see a similar trend as we get into these other markets as we report.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of seasonality, more than I would typically expect.
Yeah.
I think we're going to see that in most of these submarkets here. I will say, we are currently in the market for a new home, and we've ended up putting a couple offers in on some houses. Now, these were in, I think these were in Fishers, but there were two really great homes. They were priced right, and they were improved very, very nicely. So really great condition, really good price point, affordable price point, attractive price point. One of them had, I think, 6 offers, maybe 8 offers.
Oh, wow.
The other one had 3 or 4. So, there's still a big appetite for homes that are priced right and in good condition. And so, I don't know. That's just some stuff, from the trenches.
From the boots on the ground. So now let me inquire. So that's great. Let's talk about that for just a second here. What were those newly listed properties, or were those properties that have gone through a price reduction?
No, both of them were newly listed.
Newly listed.
So their days on the market was probably 3.
Not new construction.
Nope, existing homes.
Interesting. Wow. And those, wow. So there it is. I mean, if you list your property at the right price, there are still buyers out there. There are sharks ready to pounce as soon as they see an opportunity.
Absolutely.
Like I said, properly listed.
It's price and condition. To be fair, you got to have it priced right and the right condition. The trend is that everybody wants everything done for them. I mean, if you're an investor, maybe you want to do things so you can add value to the property. When you're talking about selling it to a owner occupant, the vast majority of people that I see want everything totally done for them. They don't want to have to do anything or do any rehabs or whatever. So that was the case in both of these, to be honest with you. But it was priced right and it was done right. The condition was great and the price was great.
Very cool. Very cool. So considering coming over to my neck of the woods.
Yeah.
Let's go. All right. Good. We can start hanging more. No, I'm just kidding.
That's right.
All right. That's cool. All right. That's our Indianapolis market report. Let's keep this rocking and rolling here. Let's get into the market that Mike is currently looking in. Fishers.
Boom.
All right. Fishers market report. I'm going to take the lead on this one. Let's rock through these numbers. Number of active homes currently on the market for the month of March. 81 number of active homes. That's up 8% month over month. Average rental price is down month over month. $2,200 down from $2,210 rather, down from $2,250. Average days on market's ticking down. Last month we saw, or I say last month, but this is last month. The previous month, which was February, saw 47, which this month we're an average daily market, days on the market at 41. Let me slow down here so I can speak clearly. And average price per square foot, which, as Mike mentioned on the previous slide here, this is more of a statistic that's kind of captured more in the apartment world, but we like to indicate it. But if you're keeping track of your average rental price, that's obviously going to factor into your average price per square foot. Average rental prices is the number that I like to keep an eye on, in addition to the average days on market. Getting into the apartment lines down there, it's 17 active apartments on the market here in the Fishers, which is exactly where we were last month. the average rents for those apartments is starting to tick up, which again, I'm a little bit surprised. I know there's some competition coming, and apartments are popping up, just like single family homes are popping up. So, but those rents are continuing to tick up, just about $22 month over month. And then your average square foot for your apartment's $1.50. Condos, 13 condos, down from 15 the previous month, and our rents are ticking lower here. So I think this was one that I kind of went wild on the previous month, where the condo price was higher than your single family homes. That's not the case this month. It's 2,100, so there was a little bit of correction in the condo market, and 54 average days on market there in the condo world, which is down from 59. You're going to get your graphics there at the bottom, which kind of keep you in tune with the long term. And all of those sweet little graphics are included, and these are posted to all of our social media channels, where it's a collective graphic report, which has all of your markets all nice and neat in one little graphic for you to consume. Mike, anything you want to speak on in the Fishers market?
No, I mean we had a bit of a month over month dip, but you could see that the sneak peek into April, the trend line is heading up. So I mean, this is kind of a continuation of Indianapolis. I think this is all relatively good news here for Fishers.
All right, let's get into the sales data here for Fishers. Now, I'm going to jump right over to the number of homes sold, which is up 23% to 84 from last month. We were at 68. Now this is a market I want to watch this one a little bit more closely, because as that local ordinance gets closer to being implemented, are we going to see even a shift in the Fishers market? Is this market going to tick up? Are we going to see that month over month tick up even as a higher percentage, because there's going to be a drive to pick up as many properties as possible in this market? Maybe. It
could be.
Yeah, average days on market's at 45, which is exactly where we were the previous month. And that's still a healthy number. If you're with the right property management company, or you know how to personally market your property effectively, you're going to be looking at a considerable lower days on market. Average price at 186 per square foot, which is just down month over month. 362, 547 is your average sales price. And again, these numbers are in your investor point of view, which is anything is sold from $0 to $500,000, as we see that as exactly the point of view from an investor standpoint. So that's where these figures are generated. Anything on the sales side, Mike?
No. Days on the market's pretty reasonable, 45. But I mean, gosh, yeah, the month over month sales at plus 23%, and year over year even is up as well. So, I mean, Fishers is such a strong market. I think it's going to continue to be strong, whether that ordinance passes or not. And if that has effect on sales, I think it'll definitely drive some sales. I don't know if it'll move the needle.
Yeah.
But I know we've got one or two clients already considering purchasing in the Fishers area just because of that potential ordinance. But again, just kind of slow and steady.
Yeah. Any questions on this market, reach out to us. Happy to help you navigate it, especially with the local changes that are happening on the government level. Let's jump into Noblesville, which everyone knows is my favorite market to be a part of. So we're going to jump into the rental data here. Number of active homes in the market is 69, with your average rental price at $2,018 as your average, which is up just over 3.5% month over month. Average days on market at 47, which is just one day more than the previous month, which is still a very healthy number. I'd like to see that closer to the 30 if I can. And if, again, you're with the right property management company, that's likely where you're going to see that average days on market. Average price per square foot at 111. And your condos and apartments rather, there in the next two graphics for your consumption. 1784 is your average price for apartments, 2375 for your condos, which is considerably higher than your single family homes. We might be seeing a trend in the condo markets where that's continually trending higher than your single family homes these days. And maybe that's because of all the HOA fees that are associated with condo living, and those expenses need to be captured in the rent. I don't know, but that's consistently trending higher. Anything on the Noblesville rental market you want to
add? Days on the market looks pretty healthy at 47. I mean, everything is just kind of, again, trending positively, slowly and surely up and to the right. I mean, it's I at the risk of sounding a little repetitive, I mean, it's tried and true. It's slow and steady. It's great news.
Right. Like I was saying at the front of this, I think we're just seeing more stabilization
Yeah.
overall, right? So the numbers aren't as fluctuating like they have been. It's a little bit boring to report on. I've got to admit. I mean, I mean, we're seeing stabilization, things that you need to be in tune to. But man, I mean, I guess it's if stabilization indicates anything, it's a safe market to be a part of.
Exactly. It's not, I know California and Florida and Arizona, the Sunbelt ones are kind
Yeah,
of boomer bust, where this is the exact opposite. It's like we say, tried and true. And if it does continue to stabilize, then honestly, what we should see next month is we should see average rental price go up, and we should see average days on the market goes down. And
exactly.
that's what that will continue all the way through July/August. I mean, hopefully that's what happens. That's the predictable market that I know
Yeah.
that you and I think are used to.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, the one thing that you want as an investment is predictability, and this is
Yep.
as close as you're going to get to it, I think.
Yep.
All right, let's get
Absolutely.
into the sales data here in Noblesville. Average days on market 41, which is pretty good. That's down 21% from 52 the previous month. Average price per square foot at 188, which is trending higher, which is indicated in the average sales price at 362 of 674. Again, this is your investor point of view. So anything that's going to sell from $0 to $500,000, as we indicate that as where investors' point of view is going to be highest. So 362 to 674 is still an affordable price point to be at. And look at your number of homes sold there. Gosh, up almost 40% month over month, up from 61 homes sold. Wow, man, man, if that continues, prices aren't coming down, friends.
Exactly. Your doom and gloom is never going to come true if that continues.
We're gonna have to go back and delete all that stuff from the social media channels for sure. Yeah. Anything you want to add here on the sales side? I mean that's looking good. If you already have a property in Noblesville, it's looking good. If you don't, I'd be still looking at Noblesville for sure. There's a lot of expansion going on, and it's safe market to be.
Safe market to be, a relatively affordable market to be. Everything is up, plus month over month, plus year over year. I mean, what a
Yeah,
great market.
and the reason, and just to be clear, I think it's an affordable market to be a part of, not because the average sales price and the investor point of view is at 362, but if you look at that graphic there in the bottom right hand corner, you'll see that 195 of those homes sold in the 250 to $300,000 price point. So
Yep.
there's a large number of available properties in the what I would consider the affordable uh, uh, price point to get in at an investor's level. So
Even under 250. I mean, if I'm an
yeah,
investor, I'm looking like I never want to be in that super low price point. I just our
of
experience
course,
is that
yeah.
that C class property just never
Yes.
pays off like it does on paper. But I am looking at the affordable portion of Noblesville. So I'm looking at that probably under 250 if I'm looking to purchase something in Noblesville, and there's still what seven like 100 houses under
Yeah.
250
Yeah.
in Noblesville. That's great. That's a lot to choose from. You could definitely find something under 250 in Noblesville, and look at all the positive sales data here. So yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. And talk about value add opportunities. So, man, Noblesville's a great place to acquire, maybe even under the $200,000 price point. If you can get into something just under that, add a little bit of rehab to it. And now, man, you're at a value add in Noblesville, which is
Yep.
a stellar market to have a value add at.
Yep.
Man. All right. I'm going to start looking for properties as soon as we're done with this podcast. All right. That's going to wrap up. And let's get into Westfield.
Okay, Westfield. Gosh, I have such mixed emotions about Westfield. I love it, but it has been a little bit saturated. And look at those. I'm going to just go straight to the terrible number on the board, which is days on the market. That is 75. I think that's the highest of all the ones that we're going to report today, and that is a shockingly high number. That
It's
is
down month
not
over month,
good.
Mike. It's
Yeah,
down
I
month
know,
over
down
month
1%.
by a day.
Woohoo! Heading in the right direction. But look at the rental price continues to go up despite the fact that we've got 75 days on the market. Month over month, rent is up 8%. It's up 2% year over year. And I mean, I remember we doing these market reports. I think it was $1,600. I mean, it has just gone through the roof. I don't know. I think long term, it's a great market. But anyway, number of active homes 62. That's actually down, which is great news. Hopefully, that will then subsequently drive that days on the market down over the next couple of months. Average rental price continues to go up on a tear, $2,700 a month, unreal. Average days on the market, we talked about that, 75. That is obnoxiously high. So you got to be realistic about, you do not want to have an investment home and have 75 days on the market, especially in March, April, and May. That is going to kill you. So be thoughtful about how you price your homes, because you do not want to have 75 days on the market for sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
Average price per square foot for single family homes, $1.15. Just real briefly, apartments, there's 25 available. I mean, significantly less. Look at that, $1,000 is almost less per month at $1,781. Price per square foot for the apartments is $178. And then actually, this is kind of interesting. The townhouses / condos, 23, and pretty significantly less than the single family homes at 2,050. If I remember, a couple months ago, that gap was a lot closer. And so I'm not sure what's going on there. If it's a race to the bottom, but look, there's a lot of townhomes and condos on the market in relative to single family homes. So there's 59 townhomes and condos, and there's 75 single family homes. Usually on all these other ones, it's like a fraction of the homes on the market versus the townhomes and condos. So I don't know. We could maybe just do a deep dive on that one time, but that's definitely worth noticing and definitely worth thinking about. And that seems like an awful lot of townhomes and condos, and maybe we haven't done a deep dive on the townhomes and condos, but I would suspect that it's maybe a bit of a race to the bottom in terms of pricing with that many on the market.
I think we did. Didn't we do that a couple podcasts ago where I'm pretty sure we did. We dove into.
Was it in Westfield? Yeah. It was.
Yeah, because we had so many clients with condos there, and we really wanted to dive into why we were educating our owners on having to reduce their prices because there was so much competition. Now, we talked about stability here a couple markets ago, and honestly, I think a lot of this data here in Westfield is artificial. I really do, and I believe that's because there is so much new construction. There's so much competition that's happening here in the Westfield area. They may be popping them up quick, more popping up in Westfield than any other community that I'm aware of here, because the condos they're throwing them up left and right. And we did see, because I think we were the early breakers when we did that deep dive, that condo prices were going to start to come home and come home. And then the following month, I think that's exactly what and I could be making all of this up. You're going to have to go back yourself and check to see if I'm making all this up or not. But I think the following month, we saw prices come down on the condos. Now we're seeing that stabilize a little bit because right around 2,000 is exactly where I would be telling my owners to be pricing their condo, right around 1995, to be honest. But I immediately acknowledged the number of condos to the number of single family homes here in the Westfield market. I'm gonna continue to watch this. I believe that the average rental price is continuing to tick up. I mean, at $2,700, that's $200 more than we saw the previous month. I think that is probably owners trying to cover their costs on new construction or new acquisitions. I really believe that's what it is. I believe that's going to come down a little bit or stabilize at least. But to see that kind of jump month over month in this market, when you're seeing an average days on market at 75, that to me clearly indicates that average rental price ticking up $200 is artificial because you're seeing 75 days on the freaking market.
I know, but look at the bottom left graphic, single family homes, and you're getting a sneak peek into April, and you're over $2,800. I mean, of course it's early and you don't know, but it just continues to go up. You know what I mean? It's almost like everybody's agreeing not to cut their prices. Like, we'll just take the days on the market and we're not cutting our prices, you know?
Yeah. Weird. Yeah, until things begin to stabilize a little bit. I honestly, I have those conversations with owners, and I'm trying to convince them to lower their price, and they think I'm an idiot and I can't do if I'm requesting them to lower their price, then I must not be in tune with what's going on in the current market. So unfortunately, I am. So that's where we are. Yeah. That's my take on Westfield. And excuse Mike's cough here and there. The man is recovering from pneumonia, so give the man a break.
That is a true story.
All right, let's get in before my buds completely die out on me. Let's get into the sales data.
Let's do Westfield sales market. All right, average days on the market. Look at that, up pretty substantially, both month over month and year over year. So 54 is where we stand now, but that's up almost 30% month over month, 18%, 17% year over year. But what's interesting is if we jump over to number of homes sold, that continues to go up. Not quite as drastically as we've seen in some of the other areas month over month, but 12% is pretty significant. But I would argue that you could probably say that's seasonality. And then it is up slightly year over year for a whole total of 75 homes sold. Average sales price, again, this is ticking up. Look at this, up 5% year over year and 3.5%, opposite, 5% month over month and 3.5% year over year. So for an average of 376, 736, which is an average price per square foot of 187, which is up year over year, down month over month. Average sales price over time looks like we had a bit of a blip there in February, but looks like it's following the 2024 trend, which makes sense because that's roughly bottoming out in January and February, and then peaking in June and July, which is typically what you would see. So I would imagine more of the same. But to Chris's point before, there's so much building out there. There's so much going on. It is hard to tell with these, and of course, all the builder data doesn't necessarily show in here. But I would think that we're going to continue to see that slowly creep up as time passes and we get into the selling season here. Bottom right, number of homes sold. This just kind of shows you how the homes are distributed. And Westfield at this point is probably not a value play like you might think of other homes. It's more of a stability play, but there are still homes. I mean, quite a bit of them, almost 150 plus under 300,000. So they're definitely still there. I always look in the Westfield market, and I could tell you that there's homes right at that, really nice homes right at that 300,000 mark still that would make great rentals. So they're there. You don't have to spend 376 or 476 or even 350. You can definitely find good homes in that kind of like 300,000 ish range. So overall, pretty good news really for the Westfield sales market.
Yeah, I would say this is just an assumption and based off no actual data, but I would imagine, correct me if I'm wrong, the condos are going to be baked into that number of homes sold, right? So I would suspect that in that lower price point, that might be a lot of those condos that are popping up over there. That are going to be 250, 300,000.
See, I feel like those condos are the ones that I'm thinking of anyway, tend to be a little bit higher end. I mean, more like the 350 to 500. The ones that I'm thinking of in that 300,000 range are smaller ranch homes, maybe a little bit older, built in like, early 90s, late 90s, maybe somewhere between 1,400 and 1,700 square foot, smaller-ish home. Those are the ones that I'm thinking of that kind of hover around that 300,000.
Yeah, those are the gold ones if you can find it. And
those are good rentals.
This is a farm community that's quickly turning into the Carmel sister for sure. If you're looking at this market, you're not unwise for doing so. There is so much going on in youth sports in the Westfield market that is going to propel this place into just a gold mine, I think. So I think there is so much value in investing in Westfield, and that's why we continue to keep it part of our rental analysis, is because there's so much opportunity here in Westfield that's not always indicated in the numbers, which is why you want to listen to more than just the numbers. You want to listen to local insights, which is exactly what we're trying to provide.
Yep.
All right. Let's talk about another sister. Let's get into Noblesville's sister, Greenwood, which is my next favorite market that I think everyone should probably be looking into. So we've got number of active homes, which this is indicating a 0% change month over month and year over year. I don't believe that is accurate. It is a change month over month. Last month we were at 72. This month we're at 68. So it's not a big change, but it is a change that you should be aware of. So disregard that small little blip. Average rental price is trending up. Here we are, 1878, up 4 and a third, and average days on market at 44, which is down. This is beautiful. This is wonderful. Yeah. This is great news, and this is exactly why I call it Noblesville Sisters. A lot of these numbers can kind of correlate. So, average price per square foot at 109. And now we're getting into the apartments and the condos. So apartments 38 active, 1252 is your average, $1.43 price per square foot in your available apartments in the Greenwood area. And then the condos, only 5 available. And these are affordable condos. Now, this is a very small subset of information, so be aware of that. Last month, for example, we only had one condo that was available, and your average price point, which was literally based on that one condo, was at $16.99. So, average days on market is at 22. So this information. Just take it as a grain of salt because it is just fluctuating greatly because of the small number of available properties. So, but that information is there to track long term. And then again, same thing with the graphics down apartments and combos, which is mixed, but very little data, primarily driven by the apartments there. And all of these graphics, again, are going to be available all in one nice, neat graphic for your consumption that includes all markets. And you can consume that and to know what's going on over the long term in each individual market. So it's a sweet little graphic. I love to bring it up. Be sure to check that out. Anything you want to add in Greenwood? It's a fairly boring market, I think, to talk about because it's stable.
Boy, yeah, boring, but great. I
Yeah.
mean, our average rental home is up. Days on the market is down. It's up year over year. It's up month over month. I mean, that graph just makes me happy to look at. I just
Yeah.
want to like go to sleep staring at that thing. I love that. I mean, you said it's boring, but it's great.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a market you want to stay in tune with. It's a market you're looking at if you're looking to put investor dollars. And there's no local ordinance being discussed in this sweet little town. So
Yeah.
there you go. All right, sales information for the town of Greenwood. Your average days on market is down. Your average sales price, though, I'm going to jump right over to it, which is trending downward. But that's probably likely due to your number of homes sold, which is 111, which is up from 88, up 26%. So that average sales price is going to be skewed a little bit. But let's look around at the number of homes sold in each price point here. I want to see how that correlates. Man, that's pretty close to where we were. We've got a few more homes obviously selling in the $0 to $200,000, which is bringing down that average sales price over time. But your average days on market at 54, which is down 32%. That's crazy. It correlates with the rest of the market. The Indiana markets, the Indianapolis metro area is trending pretty good on the sales side. Homes are still selling.
Yeah. I mean, it's up. I just lost the graphic here for a second. Up 20 something percent year over year and month over month. I mean, that is crazy. This is maybe not the most affordable play, but look at how many homes are available under 200, even 250. There's 200, 300 homes available under 250. That is amazing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'd have to look back and see where we're at in Noblesville, but for an average rental price at 1,800 and your average sales price at 305, man, those numbers really look great.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, that's actually that's what I was looking at when you caught me trying to look something else up. I put together um, that rent to price ratio, and Greenwood is at 0.62 is in terms of the rent to price ratio, which we just talked about on a different part of the podcast. But that is right in line with an article that just came out from Bigger Pockets calling out the top cash flow properties in America, and they were right at 0.62. So here we are, right in line with that, and these are just averages. We're not even trying really hard to get a great investment here. So
Yeah,
anyway, Greenwood's right there.
I got to tell you, maybe that's a point that we want to start adding to these graphics.
I agree.
That's really good information to have. Yeah. Okay. All right. That I think that's going to wrap up our Greenwood sales market insights, which I think takes us over to Anderson. You want to talk Anderson?
Yeah. Yeah, I do want to talk Anderson. So we've been talking about this as a affordable play, and that's what it continues to be. The number of homes is 42, which is actually down 31% month over month. So wow, that's crazy as activity heats up. But what's interesting is that you don't see that inventory or shrinking inventory reflect in the rental price because it's actually down slightly year over year and down month over month relatively significantly, 4.86%. So not sure what's going on there, but definitely have to keep an eye on that. I don't think it's going anywhere, but we'll have to keep an eye on that. Days on the market, also not correlating with the lack of inventory. So we may have to wait a month or two for this lack of inventory to have an effect on price and days on the market. But days on the market is, I mean, a little high for my liking. Almost 60 days on the market, 59 days on the market, and that's up 5% year over year. Average price per square foot, $1.23, which shockingly is up 19% month over month, which is strange. But then look at the number of apartments available and the average rental price in apartments, 179. I mean, that's almost 5 times the number of homes that are available. So obviously huge apartment availability, apartment community right now. Average rental price, super affordable, $667 for an average of $1.39 per square foot. Townhomes and condos, I mean, there's only one. It's not even really worth talking about there. But honestly, kind of not great news for Anderson for this month. I'm not sure what's going on here, but a bit of an off month.
Well, listen, I mean, we don't. Anderson's a market that we just want to track long term to see what happens. I mean, it's so close to the Noblesville area that we want to know what kind of runoff, what kind of bleed off there is into the Anderson market long term. We think that there's economic potential in Anderson. Nothing immediately known to myself of any immediate developments happening in Anderson, but because of the affordability price and its geographical location to other great markets, it's an area that we track. It's not an area that I'm expecting dramatic differences month over month. That's for sure. This is a long term play that we want to track because of its enormous value, because affordability is the word I was looking for. So it's enormously affordable, which we're going to see on the next graphic. So that's what we're looking at here. This is just insights to keep track of long term, so that we can talk a year from now that we knew where it was economically a year ago.
Yeah, I mean, and I don't think we've hidden that at all on this podcast. This is a little bit more of a speculative market,
Yep.
And one that you're thinking this truly, you really do need to have a 5+ year outlook on this. But you're thinking, okay, well, hey, if the average rent in Noblesville is 2,000 and it's 1,020 minutes away, I got to believe that's going to bleed over to Anderson and affect then, of course, rental prices, home prices, all of the above. So yes, this is a little bit more of a speculative market, and I guess that's what we're seeing here this month is just a little bit of a little bit of fluctuation.
Yeah, and nothing dramatic either. I mean, up 5% days on market is nothing really. But let's get into some of the sales data here, because that's really one I want to see how that correlates with some of the rental data that we're getting into.
Yeah. So sales data is also relatively interesting. We kind of had a wild month last month, that we acknowledged that hey, this is probably a blip on the on the radar, and that's kind of what it is. So anyway, days on the market, 56, which is relatively in line with other areas we've been seeing. That's down month over month, but up a little bit year over year. Average sales price, interestingly, looks terrible on paper with a month over month decrease of, call it 14%. But if you correlate that to the the bottom left there, average sales price over time, you can see that we had some sort of anomaly last month where we went from like 150 to 190, and then now we're stabilizing back there at 163. So probably the more reliable figure on that is the year over year, up 2% from year over year, and then you can see the trend line from, say, January to March is heading up and to the right, which is in the positive direction. So had the weird month of February, but looks like we're stabilizing there. Number of homes sold, that is 71, so down slightly year over year, but up 12% month over month, probably seasonality there. And then looking at the bottom right, this is almost the exact opposite of the other areas that we report on, where the vast majority of the homes available are under $200,000. I mean, that's where the bulk of the market is that sub 200. And so just to kind of reinforce the point that this is a value play. I mean, look at the average sales price was 163. I mean, it's unbelievable. And there's 600 homes, not just a couple. There's 600 homes under $200,000. So just reinforcing value for sure in Anderson, both on the sales and on the rental market.
Yeah. Speaking to those potential investors that are looking to get into the real estate markets, are a little bit younger, have fewer investment dollars to play with, this is probably a market that you can at least break into, although smartly. then you could probably create some value in this area. So that's it. Yeah, average sales price, man, ticking down. I mean, last month we were at 190 down to 163.
Yeah, but that was such an anomaly. I mean, you could see it in the graph.
Yeah.
It was just a weird month.
Yeah. That's good. I think that's going to get us into our west side then, if I'm nailing this down. So that wraps up Anderson sales. All right, let's get into our West Side roundup. Now, I've only taken a very quick glimpse at these markets, so again, I'm just going to assume because they always have previously just closely correlate with one another. So I'm going to blast through our West Side roundup, talking about Avon, Brownsburg, and your Plainfield markets, which takes up pretty much your entire west side outside 465 area, your entire west side of Indianapolis there, which those markets are so closely related, as I'm sure that we're going to see correlating here in the numbers. So Mike, whenever you want to jump in, throw up your hand, or if you have some very insightful information, feel free to do so. Otherwise, I'll just block out your cough in the background. Okay, here we go. Number of active rental properties here for the month of March 2025 in the town of Avon. You've got 22 number of active homes, which is down 21%, down from 28 month over month. Your average rental price at $2,055, which is only up about $20 from your previous month. $30 month over month. Average days on market at 29, which is unchanged whatsoever. And your average price per square foot at an even dollar. Your condos and your apartments are such a small subset of numbers, but there they are for your consumption in case you're interested in picking up a condo or looking at how you are at least comparing to apartments in this community. Let's jump into the Avon sales information. So average days on market for sales, 61, which is up from 53. Average sales price at 164, completely unchanged from the previous month. And then your average sales price actually ticking down to 326, 119, with your average number of homes sold up considerably, up 53%, up from 32 the previous month. So 49 homes sold. And just keep in mind our sales. This is an investor point of view. I want to say that at the top of this West Side Roundup, as it is what we consider the investor point of view is anything from $0 to $500,000, as we see that as the price points of interest for most real estate investors. Let's get into Brownsburg, 27. So that is very close to, I think, what we were 22, I think, in Avon, if I'm not mistaken. Which is up actually month over month, up 8%. Your average rental price ticking down here. Again, average days on market at 35, which is very healthy for a market to be a part of, and your average price per square foot at 91. Again, your apartments and condos are a very small number. So there they are, your 13 13 apartments available at $1,259 is your average price, and then condos, a very small number, 2 available condos, averaging $1,700 between the 2 of them, with an average days on market at 33. So good numbers. Your graphs down there looks like we're trending up with our early insight into April, but again, that's very early. We'll see if that continues to remain trending up for your average price over time as we get into April. But we are ticking down here for the month of March. Sales. Average days on market at 49, and average price 184 per square foot, and average sales price here actually ticking up. So this does change a little bit from what we were seeing in Avon. Average homes sold is up 50%. We were up, I think, just over 50% in Avon. So we're at 45 homes sold. Anything you want to add to any of these first two, Mike?
Just the month over month number of homes sold change is shocking in between both of them. I mean, it's like what 40 and 50%. It's insane.
Yeah.
To see that. It's seasonality for sure, but I mean, it's a relatively low number. But no, that's the biggest thing. It's standing out to me. And then on the rental side, just the West Side always typically has really good days on the market, and we're continuing to see that here. So it's kind of more the same here for the West Side.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I just wanted to get your take just before we get into the last one here, which is going to be Plainfield. Here we go. Your rental, 24 Number of active homes, again, trending downwards, and your average rent trending up just 4.5% at 2,090 for your average rent price, and your average days on market, again, correlating right along with the other two markets at 32. Average price almost right in between what we were seeing in Avon and Brownsburg at 97. Avon being at $1 flat and Brownsburg being at 91 cents. You're apparently there's no condos on the market here in the Plainfield area. So you've got 20 apartments though, averaging at $1,339 as your average rental price between those apartments. So you can see how those can stack up against your single family home in the market. And then you've got those lovely graphs that you can consume there at the bottom. And again, we do collectively put all those together in one nice, neat graph for your consumption. And those will be posted up on all of our social media channels. And that's going to wrap up our West Side Roundup, which we blaze through every month, but we want you to be aware of the numbers, but they so closely correlate with one another. One is not much different than the other. So there it is. Mike, last words on West Side.
No, I mean, more of the same. Days on the market's good. These three markets are so similar. It's shocking every single month, but they're always consistent and always solid.
I agree. Yeah, exactly. All right, we're going to get into another market. It's going to be Whitestown, which, you know what? I almost left out. You always catch me on this.
Oh. You always do that. You always leave one slide out of the West Side, don't
always. You? Every single, it's like clockwork. Yeah. Well, let me get through these numbers. Embarrassingly so. Here we go. Average days on market at 41. Average price per square foot in the Plainfield area for your sales data for March 2025 is at 188 per square foot, and your average sales price is at 362, which is up, man, 13%. So prices are continuing to trend up, but your number of homes sold, wow. Man, up 88%. So, in every one of these West Side markets have been up 51, 54, and now 88% month over month. Homes are.
And that one's month over month and year over year. I mean, that.
Yeah.
Ostensibly, Plainfield is on fire right now.
Yeah. Yeah, that's crazy. Everyone is looking in that market. And we have to keep that in mind. We're going to have to create more information related to Plainfield because some of those are going to be investors, and we want to make sure that they're looking at Red Door as an option.
For sure. And there's a lot available under 250. And look, there's 100 houses available under 250. So you don't have to spend anywhere near 360 to get a house in Plainfield.
I mean, that's a good point. I'm glad you mentioned that before we went on. Yeah, talk about an investor point of view, man. 200 to 300,000. You've got tons of homes, over 170 homes that you can pick from. That could could turn out to be great rental properties. Okay, now. Whitestown. Finally, we are in Whitestown. Let's talk about this.
All right, I'll do Whitestown. So yeah, let me jump in. You've been talking a lot. I want to give you a rest here. You know, the vocal cord get too strained there. So Whitestown is a smaller-ish market, but one that we believe is growing along with that kind of northwest corridor on the way to Lebanon. So that's why we highlight this and highlight it as a market that we do want to watch. So there's only 15 homes on the market, but look, that's down 35% month over month, which is pretty significant, especially, that's going from February to March, which there's typically more activity. So that's great news if you're an investor. Average rental price does not follow that, which is what you would think. So maybe it'll take a month or two to hit, but $21.95 down month over month and slightly year over year as well. Days on the market, so strange. Even though there's only 15 homes and it's down 35%, the days on the market is higher than I would like to see, a lot higher than I would like to see. So we're at 60 days on the market, which is up 20% month over month. So that's definitely something to keep an eye on. I would like to think if there's only 15 homes on the market, and in theory, we're going to see more rentals in March and April, that's going to go down pretty significantly over the next month or two. But something to watch because that's really, really high days on the market. Price per square foot, we're at 85 cents per square foot, which is down fairly significantly, 8.6% month over month. Not really nothing to talk about in terms of townhomes. There's only one townhome on the market, so pretty much skip over that. And not a ton in the apartment world either, only 7. Average rental price on that, $1,757, and price per square foot, $139 on the apartments. We got the trend lines down there on the bottom. Sneak peek into April. I mean, I don't know if that's going to stay, but that's a pretty significant increase if we do see that. I wouldn't doubt it based on the number of homes available. I would like to think that we're going to see an increase in price and a decrease in days on the market, but we will have to see.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not seeing a whole lot noteworthy. I mean, your average days on market could be fluctuated so greatly affected by your number of active homes on the market. I mean, a couple of those with stubborn landlords who refuse to
Yeah.
lower the price can skew that average days on market considerably. So you got to keep that in mind. Um, yeah, I mean, Whitestown is a great market and it's growing, so it's still a pretty small market, but I think that wraps
Yep.
up our rental side of it at least.
Yeah, let's take a look at the sales on Whitestown real quick. So days on the market, pretty in line with everything else. 38 days on the market, but look at that, it's down 46% month over month and 38% year over year. So huge increase there. Um, price per square foot is 159, which is actually down both month over month and year over year. But contrasting that, the average sales price is up to 373,859. That's a 3% increase over month and 5% year over year. And 33%, or sorry, 33 homes sold, which is kind of conflicting here. So that's down year over year 40% and up 30% month over month. I will say that's not a ton of homes, not a big data set to pull from. So those numbers seem kind of huge, but it is only 33 homes that are selling. So take it all with a grain of salt. Sales price over time, the trend line is over last year, so that's good. February was a little bit down, but then it looks like it's trending back up, like we would suspect going into the selling season. And then bottom right just kind of shows how these homes are distributed throughout that price point. And as you can see here, so in like on the west side, for example, we saw a lot more in that under 250. There's not as many in that under 250 price point here in the Whitestown market. So it does trend to be a little bit pricier than some of the other markets that we cover. So that's it for Whitestown.
That's it. That's it for Whitestown. I think you nailed that one. Let's get into Lebanon here, which is going to be our last market report, which is down the corridor. I mean, we're getting into Lebanon, and again, this is going to be a market that we're keeping an eye on, primarily due to its growth potential. It's just another interest, very similar to the way Anderson was. We want to track this one over time and
Yep.
see what changes. Within the data points. So I'm going to cover this one real quick if you don't mind, and then we'll wrap this up. All right, Lebanon, number of active homes. Again, it's a growing market, so we're still very early stages of this. Your number of active homes is only 7. It's down from 13 the previous month. So this data is could potentially fluctuate considerably. Let's see, average rental price at 1872, which is up month over month. I still continue to see that trend up. Last month we were at 1795, which in that month alone we were up 12% month over month. So here we are up another 4%. So it's trending up, and it's trending up pretty quickly as of right now. Average days on market at 71. Again, that number can be skewed by a couple stubborn landlords who refuses to adjust their price points. So I would take that for what it's worth, but nonetheless, that's an alarming number, and I'd be taking action if you're anywhere close to, especially this time of year at 71. Maybe you're hoping to take advantage of some seasonality and capture that higher rent. But sir or ma'am, you've lost a considerable amount of rent with your vacancy rate. So anyway, average price per square foot, it is $1.23 per square foot, up 7, almost 8% there. All right, apartments and no condos to speak of whatsoever. So we've got 38 apartments in this community, which is exactly where we were last month. 1304 is your average price, and you've got your nice and neat graphs to take a look at there at the bottom, and these will be included in our collective graph posted to all of our social medias, which all of our social medias there are listed at the bottom of each one of these graphics if you're in search of it. Anything you want to add on the rental side?
No, just that. I mean, this is a really small subset of homes, and like you said, take everything with a grain of salt because it is only 7 homes. But this is, we believe, a trending market. We know it's a trending market upwards. We're going to see this. The numbers continue to grow and grow over time. But we just wanted to start to report it so that we could have the data, so that we can make our investors aware that this is an up and coming market. So yeah, 7 is not a lot of homes, but it's growing. It's growing for sure.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Let's get into the sales information. So this is going to be our last market. Now, every market prior to, pretty much nearly every market, there may have been one outlier there, but has indicated that homes sold, and there's over there, if you look over at home sold this month, this is another market that's up 25%. So consistently, every market that we've reported on in and around the Indianapolis area has been up 20, 30%. Some of those in the west side up 50, even one of those being Plainfield up 80% month over month. So boom, that does wrap that. We are consistently seeing number of homes sold increasing considerably in all of these markets. All right, back over to average days on market. Month over month, we're down 20, almost 27%, down to 22 average days on the market, with an average price of $175 per square foot, with your average sales price within that investor point of view, which captures, looks like a majority of the homes that have sold in the Lebanon market. Man, at 263, which is up 16%. Let me see where we were really quick last month at 226. We were down last month, so the numbers probably skewed a little bit there. So probably consistently landing somewhere around 263, but that is up 16% month over month. But year over year, as you're indicated there, almost flat, really. So really, just down ever so slightly. I would imagine that's going to continue to creep up. But number of homes sold down there in the bottom right hand corner. So within that investor point of view, 0 to 500,000, the majority of these homes selling within the $250,000. Really, the sweet spot of the investor point of view, in my opinion, is the majority of where you're seeing homes sold here. So I think that this is an emerging market and a great market to be looking at if you're looking at getting into the real estate side and investment side here in the Indianapolis or surrounding area. That's Lebanon sales data.
I love it. Yeah. I mean, we're going to continue to watch this. 260 is super, super affordable, especially when you compare it against the, the rents of 1872. We talked about this a little bit before, but the rent to price ratio there, 0.71, which is really, really good. That's actually among the highest of all the ones that we report. So potential good return on investment here for Lebanon, in addition to the potential huge growth in that area that we're going to see.
Yeah, exactly. I couldn't agree more. That's going to wrap up our rental market reports from March 2025 with Red Door Property Management. Again, you want to be in tune with all of our social media channels, which you can find down there at the bottom of each one of these graphics, where not only are the content posted there to all of these social media channels, but you're going to find a lot more valuable information that's posted there that we don't actually record video content for. So be sure to tune in, like, and subscribe to any of those that you're able to do so. And of course, we very much value any and all feedback that you might have on any of the content that we're creating, any additional content that you'd like to see us create, or insights to the market. Or if you just want to bash us a little bit, we'll welcome some of that, and we'll try not to bow our heads and cry at night as we come across that. But you're certainly welcome to do so on any of those social media channels. And that'll wrap it up. I appreciate you, Mike. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll catch you guys in the next video.
Thanks, Chris. See you guys.